Hey, what's going on, guys? Lufasa here. Going to do a quick basic demo of the Sketch Fighter um, tactical mode, which is the mode that you'll see like at the start of the fight, at the start of a match. The match starts in tactical mode, and then you can choose to go in. Well, you'll see. So I'm just going to explain the basic mechanics of the thing. Thing's going to run here in a second. Going to cancel through that. Cause that. So this is the basic layout of a map, like this. Um, some maps have multiple parts, like if you go on a certain area, there's a door and then you can go in there. Um, but most maps will be this appearance, maybe not this size, some will be bigger, some will be smaller. And the idea is one team takes out the other. Yeah. Um, so beyond that, alright, let's get this match started. So I'm just going to put it into debug mode right now. So right now I'm this character. You can see my stats up here. This is my team. This is the other team. This is these guys. These guys. This tells you the order. So after him, she's one of these two is going to go. And then her, him, and then her. So the layout is that I have X number of moves. I'm going to press tab to find out my stats. Sorry. I'm going to change that clipping later too. So it's just that, but for now this is fine. I have. That's not quite right. I have 5 moves remaining. So I'm going to move my character. This character is actually better suited at longer ranges, so I'm going to keep him back. And normally that tells you how many moves you have left, but since I'm in debug mode, the character has infinite number of moves. Alright, so I'm going to go and see what moves I can do. This set down here tells you which moves you have available. J stands for jump. If this is highlighted, then you have jump moves available. N is for normal, like punches and kicks and weapon attacks, basic weapon attacks. S is for specials. Like Hadouken and all that fun stuff. Let me show you. So this is his moveset for specials. So here's the input, here's the type. That means a projectile. This means it's a physical attack. So the input for this one, it's kind of hard to see because it's zoomed out all the way into 1152 at 864, which is pretty big in terms of the screen. You can see the input is quarter circle forward and A. So the inputs are going to be A, B, C, D, and Y and Z, which are like extra punch, extra kick. So let me do this move. Okay, and I connected. You can see I did 237 damage, which is okay. Normally that move... Oh, and he gets a second turn because he has really high speed. So every once in a while, characters with high speed, the speed is 116. That's pretty high because he's in Theism, which I'll explain after I explain this. His speed and his dexterity are greatly boosted because his class is agility. So every character has a class. When you level up, you gain certain stat boosts based on your class. So he's in the agile character, so his dexterity and speed will increase more than everything else will. Now, where Aism, Bism, and Cism come into play. Aism, you have access to everything at the beginning of a match. You can use all your abilities. Keep in mind that a lot of these moves will not be accessible, like these ones. Bursts and vitality moves won't be accessible at the beginning of the match because you have to be a certain level to use them. For example, vitality moves that use 100 vitality, you need to be level 2, 3, 200 vitality, level 3, 300 vitality, level 4. So keep that in mind as you're using vitality abilities, which are basically just like super and EX versions of moves, as you see in most games. Sorry, I'm really tired. In Aism, you can pretty much do every single ability right off the get-go. You have access to your jump-ins, normals, specials, vitalities, and bursts, which is what this button implies, but it's darkened because I'm only at level 1, and most bursts require you to have at least 300 vitality, which means you have to be level 4. I am not level 4 right now, so I can't use them. Let me just level my character up really quickly. Oh, the advantages of debug. Okay, so now you can see this is his burst. So I'm going to move the target reticle, not really reticle, but whatever, onto. And now, okay, I'm going to pause it there. That hit, but I'm sure you noticed that there was a little purple icon on the input. That means the move can be cancelled. Now, cancel uses in Theism modes, which I still haven't explained. In Theism mode, it takes 300. Aism and Theism, 200, and you can also use the 300 version, which is better. But by default, you use the better version in Theism. Okay, so Aism, you have access to everything. Theism, you only have access to basics, which means you don't get the vitality abilities, which use 100 and 200 vitality. But you do gain access to really strong basics, which is exactly how it sounds. Whatever class your character is in, that stat will receive a great boost at the beginning of the match. So since he's agility and he's in Theism, B stands for basic, by the way, which is why it's Theism. If you use that at the beginning of the match, or if you're Theism at the beginning of the match, then you gain a great boost in dexterity and speed, which means you're more likely to hit and you move faster in turns, and you might even get an extra turn. So he has really nice Theism perks, and as do any characters in their respective classes. Maybe in a later video I'll go through what each one does. In fact, by maybe I mean definitely. Theism, you can't use any abilities. At the beginning of the match, you can't use any abilities that use vitality. It's like no vitalities, no specials, no bursts, etc. But once you reach critical health, which is about here, maybe a little over here, then you gain access to your limit break. And your limit break is a one-time, very powerful ability. Um, it can either be offensive, or it can be passive, or it can be healing. It can be any number of things based on the character. But you gain that, and then you have access to all of your abilities that you would be able to use normally. So it's really powerful for late game, um, and your character is still good enough if you know how to use it. But there's also the risk that, like, if you get hit with a really powerful attack that surpasses the limit break health, your character will just die, and then you're kind of fucked because you use that perk for, or you use the Theism for that perk, and then bam. So be careful with Theism. Make sure that your character is in an optimum position for it. Otherwise, your character will just die. Let's see. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So there's an instant cancel function, or a cancel in general function, with any move that has a purple diode thing there. Now, if I do a cancel, that means that I go back into my neutral state. I actually gain half the number of moves that I would normally have. So his movement is 5. It rounds down, so he has 2 if he chooses to cancel. I don't think I'm going to have enough time to do it, because as soon as I enter here, I'm going to have to hit enter and then the commands, and this timer, which measures how much time you have to act, it goes really quickly, so I'm probably not going to be able to enter it. So I'll give it a try. Oh, there you go. Nice. So now, as you can see, I'm back into my neutral state. Normally that would be the max number of moves I can make, but since I'm in debug, I can do whatever. Okay, so I canceled out of that, and that cost me 300 on 200 on different isms. Now I have a couple options from here. I can taunt, which gives me a boost of 300 vitality if it's successful. If someone interrupts me during my taunt, then I lose. I don't really lose anything. I just get hit, and I don't get the boost. Same thing with resting. Resting gives you back a great deal of rush and guard and gas. But if you get hit, it gets canceled out. You can also crouch. That makes you harder to hit in general, but also decreases your dexterity, since while you're crouching, you can't move as quickly. And I think I'm just going to guard this turn. Okay, so now that you have the general idea, my character is going to walk over here and use my item, a grenade. I'm just going to play through a couple iterations, just to give you an idea. So some physical characters, she's an Aism, and okay, another thing, Aism and C'ism characters can use what I call an action, a special action, which allows you to use a special trait which each character has, and you can interrupt things at any time. So you can create some pretty crazy combos. Like you can start a jump in, punch, kick, like strike, cancel whatever move you're about to do into the special action. I guess I could call it trait. Actually, I think I'm going to call it trait from now on. Cancel anything into your trait, continue the combo, If you have a move that can be canceled, hit the opponent with that move, cancel that, and canceling resets your jumps. So let me give it a try. Let's see what kind of combos I can really do. Hopefully I don't miss. Actually, let me level her up. Okay, and as I said before, the reason I leveled her up was you can't use super moves at level 1. So I had to get to her to at least level 4. Okay, so uppercut. It's running really slowly. This is one of the frustrations with this machine I'm using. Cancel that. Okay, so I just used her trait, which is blood price. And that means any move that she uses, instead of costing it rush meter or gas meter, it's going to cost her health instead, to a certain amplified amount, because it would be really cheap if like there's a move that costs like 30, which is normally a lot, then it only costs you 30 health and you have 5800. So you can see I need to find a good balance there, but I'll find it. Okay, so now I'm gonna do uppercut, rising blood mist, and you can see that move is cancelable. Okay, and then do bloody trigger, which is her burst move. And what that move does is it eliminates the cost for any move at all. So now she can do anything for one turn without any kind of cost, and it resets her jumps. So I'm going to do Rising Blood Mist. And a follow-up move. Oops, I fucked up the inputs there. Okay, so that was an awesome combo. I started with a jump-in kick into uppercut, into parting glass. So that move is a dash move. She dashes in her direction, and then she has a follow-up after that, which hits the opponent on one side, whichever side she's on. She has a version that moves 2 spaces and a version that moves 4. But before I finished, I canceled out with my trait, Blood Price. I hit with an uppercut again, and then followed up with Rising Blood Mist, which is her Shoryuken type move, only hits grounded opponents. And then Dropping Spike, which is the follow-up attack. I canceled that midair, did her burst Bloody Trigger, which turned all costs off. And then I followed up with another Rising Blood Mist. And that did a grand total of 2,000 damage, which is pretty good. Okay, now for him, oh, well, so much for that. I was going to try and get him out of the way, but the grenade hit, so I couldn't do anything about that. Let's see. Okay, so that was just a basic general tutorial of Sketch Fighter. I have a couple other things that I wanted to show, like summoning, items, inventory, magic system, but it's mostly pretty self-explanatory. But I'll still explain it in a later video. Thanks, and have a good day.